What's up everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, I will flush the power steering fluid on a 2009 Chevy Impala. This is an easy and complete full flush. All of the old fluid will be removed and replaced with new fluid. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe for more how-to and review videos. Now, let's get started. To perform this procedure, you will need 2 quarts of power steering fluid. There's nothing special about this brand, I just got it because it was the only one available. And you will also need about 6 feet of 3/8 inch inner diameter tubing. I recommend clear so you can see what's going on during the process. Now let's open the hood so we can access the power steering pump. Next, we need to remove this cover. Rotate the oil fill tube counterclockwise, then pull it up and out. Then pull the cover straight off. There are 3 bushings on the back of the cover. 1, 2, and 3, and they just press and lock into 3 studs on the engine. 1, 2, and 3. Now let's get to the power steering pump. This is the reservoir where the fluid is held, and this is the pump. This is the fluid return line, and this is the fluid pressure line. Fluid is pumped out of the pump through this pressure line into the system to help power your wheels turning. Then it returns through this return line back into the reservoir where it is pumped through the system again. So here at the return line where fluid is pumped back into the reservoir, we're going to disconnect it right here and splice in this tubing. That way the return fluid will go through the tubing and down into this drain pan. That's how we'll extract all of the existing fluid. It will not be reintroduced back into the reservoir. The reservoir will only receive new fluid. So at the end of the process, only new fluid will be in the system. To manually pump the fluid through the system, we'll need to rotate the wheels left and right. To do this, the front of the car has to be lifted off the ground. Jack the front wheels off the ground and secure them with jack stands. Now let's get this tubing set up and get this party started. First, slip a rag underneath so power steering fluid doesn't get all over the place and make a terrible mess. Now use some pliers to compress the hose clamp and slip it off of the connection. Then disconnect the rubber hose from the steel tube. I like to start by rotating the tube with some channel locks, which breaks the seal. Then just get in there and muscle it apart. At this point, it's time to plug the return line. Since this is 3/8 inch ID tubing, I'm just going to stuff in a 3/8 inch bolt. And now we'll slip on the 3/8 inch ID clear tubing for the drain. That will do it. And for completeness, we'll throw a zip tie on this plug. Strangely, I can't find an extra hose clamp, but there's no pressure in this line, and the zip tie will definitely do the job, no problem. And we are almost ready to get started. The last setup step is to run this drain line to the catch pan. This drain line is curled up from the packaging and definitely won't stay in the pan on its own. So I lightly clamped it in some vice grips to keep it in line over the pan. And now, setup is complete. It's time to get started. Remove the cap and top it off with clean fluid. Then turn the ignition to accessory mode. Do not start the vehicle. Accessory mode only. Turn the wheel all the way one way till it stops. All the way the other way till it stops. Then all the way back the first way till it stops. 3 cycles. A 4th cycle will cause the reservoir to completely empty and suck air into the system, which you don't want. And here's a view up top as you turn the wheel. Notice the color. It's brown. Now continue the process. Refill and pump. Refill and pump. And here's the whole process from beginning to end. Keep an eye on the color of the fluid. It changes from dark brown to gold as the old fluid is pumped out and new fluid fills the system. And this is the last cycle, the last refill and pump. Nice clean fluid is pumping out. The whole system is full of clean fluid and the old fluid is gone. Oh yes, looking good. Now let's reassemble the return line. First, I prepared the plug for removal. Then I prepared the drain hose for removal. And remove the plug and the drain hose, and reconnect the steel tube with the rubber hose. Then use some pliers to reinstall the hose clamp, and you are all set with reassembly, but there's still a few more steps and a final top off. And don't forget to remove the rag. The entire 2 quarts was pretty much used up. There's a little bit left to do the final top off. Lower the vehicle back to the ground. Then add power steering fluid until it's at the full mark on the dipstick. And reinstall the plastic cover in the reverse order that it was removed. Remove the filler neck, put the cover on, push the rubber grommets onto the metal posts, and then reinstall the filler neck. Now we're ready to start it up. Start up the engine and rotate the wheel left and right several times to pump the new fluid through the system. We can expect the fluid to go down just a little bit because the return line was empty right at the reservoir where we did our splice. So we will do one final top off after this run. But everything is running smooth and quiet, so it's a mission accomplished. So checking the fluid level one last time, on flat level ground, with the fluid fully ran through the contained system, it needs a little bit more. And here's the final step. The fluid is topped off, and this project is complete. So that takes care of the power steering fluid flush. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe for more how-to and review videos. Drop any comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.